All right. Hello, all you sports fans out there in podcast land, and welcome once again to another edition of Babbling Brooks, your new favorite podcast, where I, your host Brooks, try to bring you some of today's sports news with just a little twist of my point of view. Hope you're all having a very happy hump day so far. Made it halfway through the working week, if that's the week you're working. Not necessarily my weekend, but it's a sort of mini weekend, my day off here. So it's actually not the week, it's the weekend. Hopefully soon this will be my weekend, so I can actually have consecutive days off in a row again on a semi-regular basis at least. Be kind of nice doing a Wednesday, Thursday off here when I switch to full day shift. Gonna do a quick episode today, not just because I have to take a dump, because the Braves play in like just over an hour, and I want to watch that damn game. Because I feel pretty good the Braves is going to be what they call the rubber match of this series, as the Angels took game one with the Braves offense basically non-existent, only scoring one run. This time it was the Angels who only amounted to one run. There were no Angels in the outfield. I mean, other than the outfielders, but not the actual Angels. But either way, the Braves getting the win last night, 5-1 over the Los Angeles, formerly the Anaheim Angels. I will never not think of Christopher Lloyd and Angels in the outfield when I think of this team. I just can't help it. I was talking to somebody the other day, a couple different people. I was like, man, just what a golden time the 90s were, for like sports movies for kids especially. I mean, you can factor in, you expand it into the 80s, and go into adults, not just straight up kid stuff, of course, was like Bull Durham, and then after the League of Their Own was the one that somebody mentioned last night. I wasn't really that into it at the time when I was a kid, because it was a girl movie, it felt like, even though it had Tom Hanks, that was very structured ginger stuff, so you just were like, oh, I don't feel like watching girls play baseball. No offense, that was just how I was. I need to watch that movie, give it a chance, because I haven't honestly tried to watch it since I was a kid, because then I had no interest. Now I probably would enjoy it. But back in the night, but like the movies we had like as kids, it was like there was a small stretch of years where, like, if you go beyond baseball especially, but just with baseball, you got Angels in the outfield, which I would put second to Rookie of the Year when it comes to baseball 90s movies, because Rookie of the Year was like total wish fulfillment for a kid, because you had this kid that sucked at baseball, wasn't even good enough to do shit on his little league team, which that was me, that was a lot of us. And I still wish soccer would have been more prevalent, because that would have been much less damaging for my self-esteem than just being the guy that couldn't get on base in baseball, or they put in the corner outfield just hoping nobody hit the ball there. But, of course, a Rookie of the Year where a kid breaks his arm and somehow it goes from not being good enough for Little League to being a star in Major League Baseball for the Cubs, which is a pretty good job choosing like a team that nobody really hates. That was when they were still the lovable losers, the Cubs, and hadn't won a World Series in like almost 100 years. So that was a cool one, Angels in the outfield. And then, of course, Little Big League. Not quite at the same level as those two, but still, so pretty cool, like, fun story as a kid in the 90s. And then you expand beyond baseball, talk about some of the other sports movies. How about Mighty fucking Ducks? Enough said. 3 fucking classics. I love those movies. The only thing that made me care about hockey as a kid, because hockey, sort of like soccer, you weren't hearing anything about it in the 90s. Not in the small towns, or small cities, because Bristol's not a town. Bristol is a city. It's where I grew up. But compared to Abingdon, it's pretty much, compared to Atlanta, it's pretty much a town. Abingdon actually is a town. The other place that I've lived, other than Bristol and Atlanta, and spending some school time in Lynchburg, Virginia, at the Liberty University, God's College. They kind of messed up with me, did like the opposite of what they intended, and actually drove me out of church instead of into it. But that's like a whole other podcast. We're talking about 90s sports movies, and then you can even factor in stuff like Happy Gilmore, which I got into like a few years later, and I actually had that on at work last night when I was skimming the channels after the Braves game and the Dream game, because Atlanta Dream also had a game last night. Didn't win, though. We're playing the Las Vegas Aces, who were just really, really, really damn good. Put on Happy Gilmore, and I just joked. I'm like, this is the only fucking time you will ever see me put golf on one of these TVs. That's what I told him. Is fuck golf, unless it's in Happy Gilmore, because Adam Sandler is just amazing, and Happy Gilmore is just classic. So those are some fun sports movies. But let's talk about. You're not here to hear about 1990s sports movies, or maybe you are. Let me know if that's something you'd like more of on Babbling Brooks, your new favorite podcast. But yeah, we're here to talk about the Bravos, our beloved Braves. 5-1 win over Shohei Ohtani and his Los Angeles Angels. And Spencer Strider, baby, on the night of Super Sophmores. Him and the guy that blocked him from winning Rookie of the Year last year. And he's okay with it because it's his teammate, Michael Harris II. We'll start out with Spencer Strider. Gets the win, goes to 12-3 on the season. The Braves have won, I think all but 4. I couldn't find. One of the things I saw the stat once, I couldn't find it again. I think they've won all but 4 of his starts, 18 of his 22 starts. The Braves have won even when he doesn't necessarily get the decision himself. He does enough a lot of times to have a team in a position to win. And he did that this time, making history, breaking his own record that he set last year when he broke Randy fucking Johnson's record. I was talking last night. It's hard to not have Randy Johnson on your all-time rotation. I kind of have him and Pedro Martinez battling out for a spot. If I have a 5-man rotation. Side note, we're going to have another side note here. My all-time rotation: Satchel Paige, Nolan Ryan, Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz. I go back and forth. I might put him in the bull. We could have him in the bullpen or on there. Either way, he's part of the team. And then either Pedro or Randy. I think those are some pretty good options. It's going to be a rotation that's got some heat. Then you got the cerebral guys too. They'll get you out anyway, and you're going to get some innings out of these guys because all of them pitching back when guys actually pitch complete games pretty regularly. Guys took pride in pitching as many innings as possible. But hey, it's a changing game. You want to stretch guys out, make them last, not burn their arms out, because that did happen time to time. These guys throw too many innings. But we don't want to do that with Spencer, even though he did hit a career high in his pitch count in this one. So that's encouraging, seeing that he can do that, and almost making it through 7 innings, made 6 2/3 innings in this one for Joe Jimenez, finishing it up the inning for him with a 1 out. But this is 8 straight starts for Spencer Strider with 9 strikeouts or more, getting to 200 strikeouts, less innings than anyone in the history of the game has ever done it. Last year, it took him 130 innings, which seems pretty damn impressive. But here he is, year 2 of his career. Year 2, and he's already done it again. This time, it only took him 123 1/3 inning. This is making history, breaking his own. How in your second year, you're already breaking all-time Major League Baseball records that you set? What a damn start to a pro baseball career. Actually, he would have won Rookie of the Year if it weren't for Michael Harris II. And actually, he's okay with 8 straight starts with 9 or more strikeouts. I was wrong because I did say my prediction was double digits. I thought he'd get 10. But hey, when you do 9 like that, you'll take it. 9 is close enough to 10 to be cool with it. I wasn't right. But it's all right. And especially kind of satisfying. I kind of appreciate the Spencer said, hey, man, I expect anybody to be able to get a hit on me at any time. He's like, no shade to Shohei. But hey, man, that's how I look at everybody. But hey, it's still pretty damn cool when you get that record-breaking 200 strikeout of the season, 123 1/3 innings into the season, and you get it against the best player in Major League Baseball, Shohei Ohtani, the American League MVP, probably the American League Cy Young, the only player with any sort of argument in baseball right now to be better than Ronald Acuna Jr. And Ronald Acuna Jr., the only reason you have that, I think if he could pitch, he'd be better than Shohei. But Ronald is not a pitcher. That's fine. He does stuff in the outfield that Shohei doesn't do. Shohei is a DH. He doesn't play the field unless he's pitching. Can't blame him. That would be way too much trying to play outfield on days off. Is it from pitching? That would make it even less sustainable. I still think it's only going to last so long. Either way, though, it's pretty damn impressive because this guy knows how to strike guys out and usually knows how to not get struck out too often. So just what a great career for Spencer Strider so far, man. Just striking these dudes out like it ain't nobody's business. There's only been, 4 other Braves in the history of a team that's been around for more than 150 years. There's only 4 other pitchers in history that have had multiple 200 strikeout seasons. Spencer Strider has already done it twice in his first 2 Major League Baseball career seasons. That's crazy. That is fucking crazy, but he is damn good, and we have needed him, and he has helped carry this team. Him and Bryce Elder, especially him. Bryce has had some falters more lately, and he's not as overwhelming and as exciting as Spencer, but he's still, those two are a main reason we are where we are right now. And, of course, had some good spot starts from some other guys. But without those 2 pitchers, especially without Spencer Strider and his more than 200 strikeouts, 208 strikeouts on the season. Kevin Gausman is second in Major League Baseball. He's got 160-something. It's a 40-some strikeout difference between him and the second best in Major League fucking Baseball. It's just crazy how good Spencer Strider is. And we're going to need him to keep being good. It's encouraging getting the extra innings in, putting in, higher pitch count than normal. Doesn't seem to be having any trouble as we approach, the second half of the season. But they're going to have to be careful with managing him and making sure he stays good. Because he's still, building up to, full-on seasons. Last year was the most pitches he had ever thrown in his life in a year. Major League Baseball, a lot of damn games. So, he kind of got tired at the end, dealt some injuries. But I think with this year, especially getting Max back, let's look at, Max Fried. Good news is going to be back on Friday. Yesterday I said Saturday, but they moved the undecided from Saturday to Friday. So I would assume that means Max Fried's going to take that because he is, he's ready to go. He's back with the team. Alex says he's ready to go. You can see him with his teammates. He looks ready to go. So that's exciting news. Getting our ace back. Potential Cy Young winner from last year. And you add that to what's been a solid rotation. We still got the one spot to figure out even once we get Max back. But, that's what Yadi Chirinos is doing today. An opportunity for him to show he can do it. Didn't look great, but didn't look terrible. First time out with the Braves. Kyle Wright apparently they're thinking they can get him back next month. I was starting to kind of give up on him. So that's some good news because, that gives you 5 solid starters. And Kyle maybe just would be a different role than normal. A lot of that I think would depend on whether Soroka or Yanni, one of these guys, steps up and shows they deserve that 5th spot. Because you can figure it out. You got 6 starters. You can figure it out. But that'll be the issue with Kyle Wright, where he's been out longer. But if you can get your 20-game winner from last year back at any capacity, as long as he is, ready to go, you take it. You go with it. Brian Snicker is the manager you trust to figure out that situation. And we talked about Spencer Strider being a super sophomore, but he wasn't alone. Michael Harris II had not had a home run since July 3rd. Almost a damn month. I knew he was due. I was telling y'all, especially yesterday, him and Orlando, that whole little section of the lineup just kind of struggled. Michael Harris II, though, he's I ain't struggling no more. 2 home runs from Michael Harris II. Joining the 10-plus home run club, coming in with 9, leaving with 11. And that makes 9, count them, 9 Atlanta Braves hitters with 10 or more home runs for the 2023 baseball season. It's incredible. And we're going to keep, there'll probably be some more soon. But him and Orlando Arcia both have 11 homers after this one. 2 of 3 for Michael Harris II, up to 277 on the season. Just great to see him, because even though he's not hit a home run since July 3rd, like, he's been pretty consistently productive lately. Like, making a point, getting on base, getting stuff done. Even if it doesn't necessarily drive a run in, might not be somebody on. And he's going to have some 0 for 3s, 0 for 4s here and there. That's just fucking baseball. But you got to appreciate the maturity of the kid. Seems like he's been around, sort of like Spencer Strider. Like, these guys are not playing or acting like second-year players. They seem to know what's up. What's up? They just seem to know what's going on, as Marvin Gaye would say. What's going on? But Michael Harris II, the first homer in the 5th inning, breaking a 1-1 tie, and he hit that damn ball 445 feet. So these weren't no barely out the park home runs. He was taking care of business. It looked like it was a pitcher's duel pretty much up to that point, and really still for a little bit after that. Patrick Sandoval, I called him Pablo Sandoval because there actually is a baseball player named Pablo Sandoval. I felt bad when I realized his name was Patrick. I'm like, wait, am I racist? I called him Pablo? Then I looked it up. I'm like, okay, there was a baseball third baseman recently named Pablo Sandoval. So I was like, okay, cool. I have heard the name before related to baseball, but it's Patrick Sandoval. He did a pretty good job for the Angels in this one until it didn't. But Spencer only, gave it up 1 run in this one. And he only walked both of those walks in the first inning. And, still managing to get it done. And the same, Sandoval, it was kind of back and forth. Neither team doing a lot. The Braves had a chance to score multiple runs in the first inning, only able to get one across, partially because Ronald Acuna got caught stealing, caught trying to steal. It was one of those things where instead of doing the rundown, which you kind of sometimes would like him to see, but usually ends up being pointless and can lead to injury, just the sudden stops back and forth, and usually leading nowhere. It wasn't like there was someone else on base. Like I would see the argument for saying, oh, he should have went ahead and did the rundown, because even when it's inevitable, if you can do a rundown when there's, say, someone on second, someone on third base, you give them a chance to move over and get home or whatever. But when there's nobody else on base, it's not really anything worth it unless you just really know you have a chance. Ronald's going to know. Like in that situation, he was caught. Sandoval seems to be really good. There was a couple other times. Try to focus, especially with all the stolen bases Ronald Acuna Jr. has got this year. I think teams, especially pitchers like Sandoval, that's a strength of theirs. They're going to lean on like the pickoff move to try to keep you off balance. And it cost the Braves a run, because if Ronald would have just stayed on first, he would have made his way home. Ozzie ended up scoring. So, we could have been up 2-0. Instead, the 1-0, they tie at 1-1. And like I said, Michael Harris II, just clutch home runs, man. Right after the top of the 5th, when with a fielder's choice, Moniak finds his way home for the Angels. After, of course, and forgot to say, Olsen hit the sacrifice fly to drive in Ozzie Albies. So, maybe Ozzie could have drove Ronald. And either way, Braves could have been up 2-0 early. But 1-0, still better than nothing. Especially when you have what the Braves did in the 5th and the 7th inning. Michael Harris II clubbing it out to right center for the 2-1 lead. Coming up a couple innings later, still a 1-run lead. So with a team like this, with a team that has Shohei Ohtani, got all these, those guys they just got from the Rockies, still trying to hit the ball like they're in Coors Field and Grichuk and Cron. Like, this is a team that can hit the ball. This is a team that's got some talent. Ringifo at the top there, Renfroe in the middle. These guys can hit the ball. So 2-1 seems a little precarious. So the Braves like, hey, just in case, let's get some more. Let's do a little bit more. Let's eat a little more so we full. We know we good. No lead is ever totally safe, obviously. Baseball, people can go off, but, 1 run definitely doesn't feel safe. So 7th inning, the Braves come up. Eddie Rosario, who did not start in this one, the Braves facing a left-handed pitcher, which it's been a while since they faced a left-handed starting pitcher. So Kevin Pillar, he's a little better against lefties than Eddie. They gave him the start. Didn't really do anything with it. But then you had Eddie pinch hit. He's 1-for-1, gets on base, setting the table for some Orlando magic. Mr. Arcia coming to the plate, hitting the ball 420 feet, man. Spicoli that shit. Braves up 4-1, just like that with a 2-run shot. Next up, and honestly, when they showed this for a second, I was like, wait, is that a replay? I'm like, nope, that's not quite the same distance. It's 427 feet, though. Excuse me. Michael Harris II, another solo homer, back to fucking back with Mr. Arcia. Sorry, I had to get a quick drink. Oh, water! But yeah, so that gives the Braves their final lead in this one. It's 5-1, and the bullpen taking care of fucking business. That's right in this one. Yeah, already talked about Joe Jimenez finishing up the 7th for Mr. Spencer Strider. And AJ Minter still looking really good in his return to injury. And especially because the Braves didn't have any left-handed arms in the bullpen there for a second. Now we got 2, and we could have 3. The Braves did trade for Brad Hand, be an extra arm in the bullpen. Another former Rocky, happy to get out of Coors Field, I'm sure, joining Pierce Johnson. And once we get Dylan Lee back, who looked like he had a good little batting practice throw yesterday. So we should be getting him within 2 weeks. That'll be 3 left-handed options coming out the bullpen for the Braves today. That's some good stuff to have, given just the depth. I really, really like Alex Anthopoulos not making any major moves. I think a lot of that was the encouragement they have with these bullpen guys coming back. AJ coming back now. Dylan Lee coming back soon. Apparently Jesse Chavez, similar to Kyle Wright, they believe will come back next month. Still a chance Nick Anderson returns. But, we got to stay at bullpen. 11 bullpen arms for 8 spots, I think I saw. So there's going to be some picking and choosing when it comes down to stretch. But it's good to have these options because then you got guys to eat innings and just gives you choices. So it's like you don't just have like the one guy to do this because some people are going to be tired some days. Some guys are not going to be ready to pitch. Sometimes you're not going to like the matchups. So, Brian Snicker having a lot of different options at his disposal. I like it. And, we just don't have enough to be giving up big prospects. That's what I like about the moves that we got. Getting Nicky Lopez, great utility infielder. Getting Pierce Johnson. Trading for Taylor Hearn, then using him to get Nicky Lopez. I'm really shocked that we're able to do that straight up. I love it. Definitely love it. So great job, Alex Anthopoulos, having trust in this team. And just being smart, being like, hey, you don't need to make a splash just to make a splash, because then you could make the wrong kind of splash and maybe fuck up the feng shui that the team's got going on. So the bullpen, talk about Joe, talk about AJ. AJ gave up a hit in his 1-inning pitch for getting a strikeout, not letting nobody cross the plate, setting up for Raisel Iglesias in a rare non-save opportunity. Just trying to, hey, let's just get out of here. Let's not turn it into a save opportunity. And he not allowing any breathing room. 1, 2, 3, down for the count. Braves get the win, evening up this series 1-1. And today, less than an hour from now will be the first pitch for the final game in this series. And you got to say, it's great for baseball, having every team play every team every season. I really kind of wanted to go today. I woke up at 9 a.m. and I was like, that is not happening. Just because, I ain't paying for an Uber to get up there. It takes 2.5 hours to get up there from where I'm at on MARTA. More like an hour and a half to 2 hours, really. But you know how it is with MARTA. Or if you live in Atlanta and you don't drive, you know how it is with MARTA. Because you'll be like, it says an hour and a half. And it's really, really easy for that. Sometimes you got to hit that just right for that, or that hour and a half turns into 2.5 plus hours of just sitting in the sun, waiting on a damn bus. And of course it's late. Of course it's early. Just, whatever. So eventually I'm going to make it up there because it's the longest I've gone since 2017 without going to see a Braves game in person this far into the season. Let's talk about some of our other guys. What did the other Braves do? Already mentioned Michael Harris II, 2 of 3 in this one, 2 home runs. Orlando Arcia only had 1 home run. He was 1 of 3, but it was a 2-run shot. 2 RBIs for him. He's hitting .302 since the All-Star break, and he's hit 4 of his 11 home runs in that span. So good to see, because it felt like, even though when he got elected to the All-Star game, it was kind of like a disappointing end to like the first half. Kind of been quieted down a little bit. And he's had some flashes where he will still show it, but it kind of been quiet lately. So good to see him kind of break out, since the All-Star break, kind of coming back together after a really hot start. Because he was hitting over 300 for a long chunk of the season. So now maybe he can get himself back in that conversation. Austin Riley was the only other Brave other than Michael Harris II to get multiple hits in this one. He's 2 of 4. Struck out the other 2 times at bat. Not making it home, not driving anybody in. But hey, still good to see Austin hitting for average. Ozzie Albies scored one of the runs in this one on the Matt Olson sacrifice fly. He ends up going 1 of 4 in this one. And Acuna 0 of 2, so back-to-back 0 games, but still getting on base twice. So you like that, kind of got himself picked off there. That's going to happen. He's been like statistically just so successful at stealing bases. You're gonna have guys, and especially someone like Sandoval who's got a pretty decent pickoff move. You're gonna sometimes get caught. Gonna get a little ahead of yourself like he did in that particular case. Like, just didn't realize they were gonna call him on it like when he was halfway between. Thought he could make it, but I would be surprised. I said it already other times. Like, very rarely does Ronald, it's rare for Ronald Acuna to have an over game. It's even more rare for him to have back-to-back. What's even more rare, like the rarest of rare, him 3 games in a row with an over. So Ronald Acuna is going to have a base hit. Maybe a home run. Maybe, I think he at least is going to steal a base. Maybe a home run steal combo, like a twofer. That I'll take, but I'll take anything, man. I think he's definitely going to get on base. He's getting on base regardless, even with these offers. He's walking and still like making his way onto there and becoming a threat and something that the pitcher has to think about. I don't see him getting picked off back-to-back games like that for sure. Some of the other hitters that not so good in this one: Olsen, Ozuna, both 0 of 2. Murphy 0 of 3. Kevin Pillar in his rare start 0 of 2. We might have to look out. I didn't see Sam Hilliard is starting his rehab appearance for Gwinnett. So some competition maybe for Kevin Pillar. Not like he's getting a lot of play lately anyway, but curious to see if anything changes down the stretch with Snicker and whether Eddie Rosario keeps playing the same amount or they mix it up a little more often. Ohtani did good in this one, struck out twice, gets on base later. He was 1 of 4 in this one. And even though Spencer says, he looks at everybody the same kind of as a hitter, it's got to feel kind of special that Ohtani was number 200 because Ohtani's a damn good, but there's only the best player in baseball right now. There's only 2 acceptable answers. It's either Ronald Acuna Jr. or Shohei Ohtani. No one else counts right now. Sorry, not sorry. Let's see. So the Braves, crazy too. All the former Rockies on these 2 teams. Now the Braves got 2 relievers from the Rockies, and the Angels got the 2 different hitters, C.J. Cron and Grichuk, or whatever his first name is. And Braves trade for Brad Hand, and all they had to give up was a Double-A pitcher, Alec Berger, who was not even in their top 30. So I think that's a good move. That's what I like about these Braves moves, not giving up a lot. Not sacrificing too much of the future that you've already done, so you got to build that back up. But the good thing is they're not going to need a lot of extra replenishment from the farm system because they've just had so many guys come up the last year or 2. Michael Harris is the second. Spencer Strider obviously highlighting that. Still got Vaughn Grissom right there too. Someone to think about. And I got to get out of here because I can feel the nature calling me. Nature! But kind of a cool note from around the league, Framber Valdez throwing the 16th no-hitter in Astros history. And it was like the fewest pitches since 1999 to do a complete game no-hitter. So good for him, even though he is an Astro. Can't hate on Dusty and company too much now. But looking forward to today's Braves game. I like our chances. See how Yanni Chiernos does. He'll be going up against Giolito, former White Sox pitcher, coming over in a trade deadline deal to the Angels, and the Angels bulking up. And I really appreciate that the Angels did that. A lot of people wanted them to give up and trade Shohei Ohtani, just throw in the towel. But hey, man, we're here to win. We don't want to just win Shohei. We want to win some baseball. So bringing some guys in, showing him they mean business, trying to make a run at this. Maybe try to get him to stick around. I mean, if he doesn't go to the Braves, I want him to either stay with the Angels or go to the Mariners. I don't want him to go anywhere else. But we'll have to keep an eye on that, see what he does against the Braves today. He was scheduled to pitch, but then they bumped it till, I think, tomorrow. Braves, of course, are off tomorrow, traveling to Chicago, starting the series against the Cubs on Friday with Max Fried on the mound, and that is some exciting shit. I hope y'all have a great day. Come back tomorrow, talk about this final game in this series, Braves and Angels. And the Braves win another series, keep a winning record against the American League. Now they're up 22-20, I believe. So we'll see how that goes. Hope y'all have a great day. Check back tomorrow for more of your new favorite podcast, Babbling Brooks. Peace out.